Is my husband a narcissist or is he just really selfish? I realized recently that this is a question that I get asked a lot. And obviously, it can be, is my wife, is my significant other, is my spouse? It doesn't just have to be about husbands, but definitely that's the question that I get asked the most. And I thought, well, I've got some valuable information to share to help people make this determination. And it's about time that I made a video about it. This is information that I share with my clients, and I thought, well, I can start to share this information with a much greater number of people. So let's get into it. Is my partner, my spouse, my husband a narcissist, or are they just really selfish? And I totally understand from personal experience, having been in a long narcissistic marriage, that that is something that it's a question that you struggle with. And I thought one of the things that I can probably do that will really help you is share with you the information that I used to help me determine the things that made me start to think. Because at the end of the day, narcissism, like everything else, it's on a spectrum. And all of us are capable of being selfish at times. We all are determined to have something we want, to do something we want, but and maybe that affects other people, but for most of us that is it's a small percentage of the time. And doing things for ourselves that impact other people in a negative way, for most of us it's limited, it's balanced, and we balance it because we care about the other person. We care very much about their happiness, their thoughts, their feelings. We care about hurting them. And then it's possible in our relationship with someone that we notice that this is very one way and that this doesn't seem to be reciprocated. And that the relationship seems very hard. And you start to ask yourself some key questions. And I wrote down, I'm just going to bring these up here because I actually wrote down the key questions that I started to ask myself about this, so that I could share them with you and give you some insights into what I was asking, the questions that were coming up for me. And then you can relate to these and see if these actually come up for you to help you with this determination. So I've written them down so I don't miss anything. And these are things that I actually used to voice to my husband. And when you hear these, you would think, and I used to say, why don't these things affect you? Why don't you think there's something wrong when you hear that this is how I feel? Obviously, I know that now, and I'm just hoping that these things help you. So I'm just reading my notes, so excuse me, I don't want to miss anything. But I used to say to one of the things I used to say a lot was, I feel as if my life is on hold so that you can live yours. And I realized that I was in a box where everything totally suited him, and everything was set up so that he could do exactly what he wanted. And I took care of everything else, but it didn't leave any time for me. And if you can relate to that, I think this is very, very significant. And if you're in a relationship with someone, whether they've got fully diagnosed NPD, narcissistic personality disorder, or whether they're high on the spectrum, to me, it doesn't really matter. The behavior is the same, the way it affects you is the same. My husband was never diagnosed, but there's no doubt that he was a covert narcissist. To the rest of the world, he was amazing. People used to talk to me about how lucky I was, how incredible he was. But of course, that's all part of the persona. And the reason he could appear so incredible was because of what I was doing in the background, but no one saw how he was manipulating and controlling all of that so that he looked so good. So now let's go on. So the second thing I used to say to him a lot was, you don't actually need a wife. You just need a housekeeper. You just need someone to run your life for you. do you see, you don't need someone to be in a relationship with, you need someone to take care of your life. And just remember that these things I felt so strongly I was saying to him. And then let me have a look. I haven't got my glasses on, so I'm trying to see what's written here. So, and then and these are things I was thinking and feeling. Don't remember, I was thinking this through, trying to work out what was going on. And I used to look at it. I was very capable. I could be very independent. I'd always earned good money, had a good career, and suddenly here I was. He wanted to be the only earner, really. And obviously, there are ways that he would use that against me. And I used to look at it and I would say to myself, do you know? And I also said this to him, aside from finances, I would be better off as a single person. And I realized I would be better off because I wouldn't have all the chaos, all the confusion, all of the drama all the time, that I would just be able to earn my own money, look after my children, and have a calm and peaceful existence. And it got to the realization that for me, in our relationship and in our marriage, what he was bringing to the table was mostly finance. I'm not saying there weren't good times, there were, of course, for most of us, that's what keeps us stuck. But I realized that the biggest thing, the biggest benefit was finance, and that I really felt that I would be better off as a single person aside from the money. A single mother, even with two small children, I would be better off. So then we've got here. Do you know what I might do? I might put my glasses on so I can see these more easily for you. Bear with me, because like if you're getting old and you need glasses, then join the club. We're human, okay? So then I would say to I actually said to him, "You're the most selfish person I've ever met." And I was aware that his selfishness was on a whole other scale. And then I would say things like, "Why don't you care at all about my happiness or my unhappiness?" I would tell him how unhappy I was in the life that we were living. And he was completely unaffected by that. Or even if he seemed to say something that was supportive about how things would change or stop, they never did. It was just words. There was never any action. So, and then whenever I did try and make changes, and with him understanding why I was making those changes, what I wanted and what I needed, he would destroy anything that I tried to create. And I would actually ask him, why do you destroy everything I try to create? And of course, he always had a reason why it wasn't right, why I didn't know what I was doing, why it wasn't right for our lives. Um, but it was really because I was doing something to elevate myself. And of course, what he wanted was all of the control. He wanted to be in charge. I would then notice his behavior around other people, and maybe to them or in a certain situation, he would be very positive, very outgoing. But then I would ask him afterwards, why are you so negative and judgmental? And I realized that he was putting on this face in a certain situation or to certain people. But then when we were alone, he was talking about those people, that situation or circumstance in a completely different way. And mostly it was very harsh, critical, judgmental, and negative. And then I would also ask him, why is everyone else more important to you than me and the boys? So again, you can see this is a typical narcissistic trait where all his energy, all his resources were being poured into how he looked to other people, and obviously that was a huge detriment to the family and to me. No care and consideration to how these things were affecting us and what they meant to us. So that was something else. So why is everyone else more important to you? And it was very interesting to me that when he found out that I was having twin boys, he was really excited about that. And I actually used it, but then when it came down to it, he never wanted to spend time doing what they wanted to do. It was all about him. And it was fine as long as they wanted to do what he wanted to do and to join in with him. And I actually used to ask him, why were you so excited about having twin boys if you don't actually want to spend time with them? And the other thing was, if you don't want to parent them, he wasn't interested in parenting at all, laying down any guidelines, any rules, any barriers. There was none of that. And parenting was a complete nightmare because there was no teamwork. So there's the negatives, judgmental, everyone else being, and then I used to ask him, why are you not interested in us working as a team? Why are you trying to do everything yourself? Why are we so separate? Why is there no togetherness about anything? Why do you always exaggerate and make stuff up? I would catch him, like, he would relay a situation, a conversation to people, and it was so different to what had actually happened that I didn't actually recognize it. And then I would realize what he was talking about, and the difference was so huge. And I would actually call him out and ask him, why did you say that when that's not what happened? Why did you so grossly exaggerate that? Or even, why did you make that up? Or why did you lie about that? So you can see all these traits, all these behaviors that are coming through. And yours might not be the same as mine, but these things will help you to have a look at your situation and to try and assess for yourself, is what's going on here beyond selfishness? Selfishness doesn't allow for any of the things that I'm talking about here, because you have to remember that this was not occasional. This was how he was. This is how he operated. This is how it felt to be with him in a relationship. Most of the time I was aware of these traits, these behaviors. And then I've just got something, a really big one down here that really, really bothered me. And I want you to be very aware of this. I used to ask him, why do you constantly criticize the boys and tell them that they're not good enough? And this is really important if you've got children. The role of parents, of course, is to love unconditionally, to support, to appreciate, to encourage. Whereas mostly what my boys got from their dad was this idea that they weren't good enough, they couldn't do things with him because they weren't good enough, and he would just have to redo it. So there was none of the joy or the pleasure of doing things with them. It was all about things being done his way, to a standard, all of those things. There will be others, but those are the main things. Yeah, so actually I've got a couple here. Criticizing everything and everyone, focusing on the negative. Why do you make and break so many promises? Oh my goodness. For most of us, if we make a promise, then that's it. We know that we're committing to do something or be somewhere. I promise you I will do that. We're giving someone an assurance. Making and breaking promises to him was nothing. It was a huge manipulation that he used to use. Oh, I promise. And even when I recognized what he was doing and started to say to him, I don't believe your promises. Your promises don't mean anything. They're not something that can be relied on. And that, yes, this, I see what you're saying, but this time I mean it. This time I really promise. This time I'm certain. This time I'm sure. And these were about huge things in our lives, really, really big decisions. And they didn't mean anything. He would just use making a promise to get exactly what he wanted, when and how, and things that would massively impact not just me, but the children in an extremely negative way. And he had no care or consideration for that at all. It didn't matter. It was just a tool to get what he wanted. And then just a couple more, I would just ask him, why do you steal the joy out of everything? It's like everything that we plan to do, every trip, every major occasion, he had to cause some huge upset, huge drama. And it was just, you could feel the joy, all the love, all the laughter being sucked out of it. And that was a very regular pattern for him as well. And then I noticed him speaking not just to me and the boys, but to other people with so much contempt and impatience, irreverence. And it was absolutely horrible. So I'm sure as I go through, you get the gist, you get the picture. And I just really hope that these things help you to look at your situation and to make an assessment of, is my partner a narcissist? Which of these traits or others like them do I recognize? Do they show up occasionally? Or is this their behavior? Is this their character? Is this just really who and how they are? And I really just hope that this information will help you as you're looking at this question: is my partner a narcissist? It's not a definitive list. Your details will be different to mine, but you get the gist about the behaviors, and about how these characteristics show up. So I really hope that that helps you. Thanks for watching. Thanks for listening. I'm talking about this stuff with my clients all the time. It's about time I started to make videos, so that I can help many, many more people. I'm a very specialized hypnotherapist. I help people recover from trauma and abuse. My method works very fast. It's very effective because we're dealing with the subconscious mind. And all I can ask you is, if you like the video, if you like this content, please press like. And if you leave a comment, please leave a comment about what you thought, how this relates to you, other things that have come up for you. And if you would like to get notified every time I post a new video, then please click the subscribe and the notifications. And when the notification comes up, you'll see that you can select to get all of the notifications. That's what you need to do. Like, comment, subscribe, notifications, click all, because I'll be providing a lot more content like this based on my own journey and my professional experience. And I really hope it helps you. Thanks for watching.